Morning, it's Andy from Nineworks Radio. Good to see you. I brought my SC. Lee's told me to meet him in this car park and he's bringing something air-cooled as well. Don't know what it is. Morning. Nice. Very nice.
Ta-da! I bought coffees.
Oh, good lad. Suits you.
It's not so much little Irish, but baby Irish.
Yeah.
There we go,
Oh,
sir.
thanks,
How are
dude.
you? All right?
I'm good.
This is the 912C by Cam Manufacture. So you may remember, and hopefully viewers will remember, around a year ago I borrowed this car and did a road test around Goodwood actually. And it was very committed.
Racy.
It was very, yes, exactly that. It was a race car for the road. I kind of assimilated it to like a 911R, as in a 68R, but for the modern times. Albeit this is 912 base, it's flat 4, etc. Well, yeah, so it's back now. The guys have lent it to me for a couple of days and said, let's see what you think. So I thought, well, look, bring this along next to your SC. This last year was running 175, it's now 190. This is 750, whereas yours is 1075, same as the 2.7 RS Touring. An air-cooled Synergy by the waterside.
Fantastic.
I think if cool with you, head down to West Bay and do our usual run that we like to do anyway, and jump between the two cars. We'll see what we get on right after this coffee, eh?
Cool.
Grand.
Ching ching.
Cheers. If we start the car up. Sounds great, doesn't it? I'm excited to drive this car again, of course. I really enjoyed it last year. But I'm also quite excited to see what Andy thinks of it, because as I said, he's definitely a connoisseur when it comes to the air-cooled cars. It's great to be back in it. I can feel a lot of differences already, which we'll talk about later in the video. So, the 912C by Cam Manufacture. As I said previously, Cam being a Budapest-based company that has looked to restore the 912, so completely off-piste from everything else that's kind of going on in the Porsche world, where everything's 964 and even G-body based. Take the humble 912 and just turn the wick up in every way possible. And the answer is this, the 912C. What does C mean? Well, it means carbon, because as you can tell, and probably see, this car is absolutely dripping in the stuff. It's what contributes considerably to the 750 kilo weight, and also carbon looks lovely, doesn't it? What I think is really awesome about Mickey Kazma, who runs Cam Manufacture, and the team he has, is they're super obsessive in terms of their outlook on this car, but they're also kind of quite relaxed and hungry to improve and build the car, and that's why I've got the car again. It's still in pre-production form, but it's been completely reworked, as I said, for this kind of touring style. And we're going to be exploring what the team have done so far to make it more touring focused ahead of the first production car that will arrive in 2024. First though, let's bring you along for the ride. Changes, and all for the better in my opinion, and this is what I really need to get across. There's no kind of such thing as a package here in terms of like a race pack or a touring pack. The whole point with this 912C is you can have what you want from a vast array of options to create what you deem your ultimate ideal of a 912 resto mod. So the big theme for this more touring oriented setup is duality, exemplified by tractive active suspension. Coilovers front and rear now giving you 5 different damping settings, from soft, which still focused but more compliant I would say, certainly than it was last year, going right the way round to fully stiff, which is probably more in line with where the car was at last year. Very firm, and you can change that on the fly with this little dial here. Next to the Tractive active suspension management, we've got this little gem of a button with Drive Me Crazy written around the edge of it, and that basically is dual mapping and also changes the exhaust, which is switchable. A fantastic idea. So I said last year it was 175 horsepower. This year there are 2 maps readily available to you from within the car. As is now, 170 horsepower delivered, and on the switchable exhaust the valves are closed, so it's a lot quieter. You can just go up through the gears, and actually it's a lot more palatable on the inside. However, push that button in, the valves open, the exhaust is louder. There's a change of mapping to give a sharper throttle response, but also an uptick in power to 190 horsepower. I'll keep my foot in the same position. Ready? Let's go.
Significantly, Cam has ditched the carbs used last year in favour of MFI for an easier start-up and more reliable performance, which is exactly what you want if you're touring in this classic 912.
So that's dealt with the engine and damping and the greater versatility on offer. Some more changes as well in relation to this little thing in front of me, the wheel. So, when I drove this car last year, the steering, I mean, it was super darty. It was just 1.7 turns lock to lock. A bit too intense for how I like to drive, certainly. Cam has changed that. It's now 2.7 turns lock to lock, and it's just taken away a layer of that intensity at the wheel. Likewise, there has been a change with the gearbox and a longer gearing, and that's really good for motorway driving when you just want to knock it into fifth, have the revs drop, give your ears a little bit of a break. Then of course there's some sound deadening that can be put back in as well. So again, massive breadth of options and potential really to help craft your ideal version of what this car should look and feel like. Anyway, I think it's about time we put the foot down on this car, caught up with Andy in the SC, and see if he wants to swap.
And swap we did, letting Andy loose in the 912 while I took up the drive in his 911. Once I'd remembered to collect that camera, of course. So what did Andy think?
Right, here goes. Right, dog leg. Remember, dog leg. Right, what's immediate impressions? Steering is extremely direct. I wouldn't like to have known what it was like before. I think it was a lot more direct before. Oh, it really does tuck in. It's beautiful. Got to say, my SC looks pretty damn fine from behind. Not bad. Not bad. The gear lever doesn't have any centering, so there's no centering to get into fourth and fifth plane. It really is a bit of a guess. I'm kind of getting used to that, I think. Makes a great little noise, the engine. Definitely got a little bit of thump to it, that's for sure. Yeah, the change in direction, wow, really is just really connected. Let's have a little play with the old Tractive suspension. So we've got 5 settings on the Tractive. Soft to the left, and then full hard to the right. You can feel the difference. It feels quite sort of like it could be quite track focused and it's fully hard. Yeah, you can hear it in my voice now that we're on setting 5. We're getting a more lumpy sort of situation going on. Dial that back, say number 3, and yeah, straight away my voice doesn't get the issues that it was having back then. So yeah, there's definitely a difference. That seat really is quite hunched forward. I would like tip it back a little bit, I think, but it's a lovely seat. I really like the shape of it and the size of it. Nice sort of control of the upper body without it being too tight at the lower body. So you get into a lot of bucket seats and they're really tight at the bottom, where this is just, it feels great. It feels such a well put together car. Everything's tight, the detail's really good. It's my kind of car in that everything's been considered and everything's buttoned up well. All of the fit and finish is good. Yeah, it's a great build, really is a great build. Well done, Mickey and the team, really, really, really cool. I'll tell you what, we're bending some necks today, and these two, they really are. It's riotous, that exhaust.
So, Mr. B, what do you reckon then? What's your verdict on the 912C top level?
Steering, responsive.
Direct, I suppose.
Yeah, and very direct. I really like that. Engine-wise, it's got a good bit of poke to it. Kind of missed the torque of the 6 for my personal opinion.
Okay.
But it's what a banging little engine. It really pokes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Interesting noises it makes at different parts of the rev range.
For me, in terms of sound on that, when the revs are quite low, it's quite like baritone. And then sort of as this car comes on cam, to me, that totally changes and switches up.
It sounds race spec. Yeah.
What do you think in terms of the weight, right? So 750 kilos, for me anyway, when I see something like that written down on paper, I tend to think, oh no, this is going to be a really compromised, crashy, noisy, pretty horrible thing to drive. I personally don't feel like that with this car, and actually it's quite pleasant despite that, but it'd be interesting to get your view in relation to...
That is so well put together. From a detail point of view, from a structural point of view, from components that have been chosen. It all works well.
Shall we go and have a look at the engines? I want to talk about this one first of all, right? Because
what was your take?
Your ownership experience so far is a great example of what can be achieved if you do the right thing, do your diligence and buy the right car.
Yeah, agree with that.
So we're recording this August 2023. Your summer, since you bought this, you've spent driving it.
Yep.
Rather than putting things right and addressing foibles. And you know, if you buy the wrong car, those first few months of ownership can be completely different and can put you off.
Yeah, and be bloody expensive as
without
well.
a doubt, yeah, without a doubt. I'm devastated that I can't find anything wrong with it. It's so annoying. It's always the case for you, but it's a lovely car, mate. Not that we can compare, but because we're with these two air-cooled cars, like the gearboxes, for example, both 5-speed, obviously 915 in here, 901 in there. I really like that gearbox. I think there's a lot of 901s.
Yeah.
It can be a bit of a pig. They can take a lot getting used to.
Yeah.
You know, it's a bit of an acquired taste these days. Not a lot of people are used to it. But actually, I found that super precise. I really like the shortness of the throw, despite the fact that the shifter itself is quite long. This thing, by comparison, though, although the throw is slightly longer, I just feel like it's like going through butter.
Yes.
So silky.
It is now, yeah. It
so
wasn't.
Silky.
It is now.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's taken a fair bit of work to get that silky.
Has it? Okay.
Yeah.
I wish I hadn't bought that then. Yes, with the 912, it's a 4-cylinder. There isn't that low down torque that I think we're lavished with the flat 6.
Yeah, I agree with that.
However, keep the revs high on that, and that thing is explosive.
Motors, isn't it?
And my kind of synopsis of that is it's a race spec engine. The way that car is set up with its gearing and the nature of like how cammy that engine is, I feel as a driver a bit more animalistic in that.
Yes,
so
I'm definitely,
you know, I'm a little bit more red-blooded, whereas this, I haven't done that. What I would say is, and this is a big shared concept between the two, is you can have lots of fun in these cars, and I don't feel like you're getting anywhere near the bad books of law enforcement.
Yeah, it's brilliant. That for me is why I wanted to go for this.
Yeah, same engagement, but you're just kind of a little bit, you know,
touching it back a bit.
Watching the 912 follow this in your mirrors, just how dainty the 912 is.
It's tiny, doesn't
it? Does it really?
Especially
tiny.
from this back end. You've got that, the wheels are so tucked in. With those tiny little arches, it looks tiny from behind.
It's mad, I've never seen an SC look big.
Yeah.
The car last year, really epic. A white knuckle ride, perhaps too white knuckle for me and my preferences at times.
It's a great fun thing as it is now.
Yeah.
I think with it being, I don't know, sort of an 8 on the crazy matrix scale.
Yeah.
If it was 10, I'd be like, oh my God.
Yeah,
it would have been too much.
Well, it would reduce the bandwidth in which you can use it. Real kind of kudos that from what is essentially the same car, just a few tweaks in the right areas, I think have changed the parameters of what that car is all about.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. And it's very adaptable as well, isn't it? There's lots of options.
Yeah.
So you can make it full on race spec if you want, or you can dial it back.
Yeah.
But I think that's a real good demonstration of what's achievable and the different levels that you can go to.
What I would say though, Andy B, is looking at you as the owner of this would make a good twin car air-cooled garage.
Wouldn't it?
I just feel like there's enough of a separation there
between the two,
to
yeah.
warrant a space for both of them in a garage.
Yeah.
And you have got a 2-car garage, haven't you? Grand.
Yeah,
Right, shall we sign
indeed.
off, go get some lunch and head back to home and
Awesome.
let these holiday lot do what they do. Grand.
Cool.
Thanks very much for watching 9works TV. We'll see you again soon.
Cheers.